just raised a very important point here. Well, a little earlier, the NUJ president did insinuate that some of these journalists have been, well, infiltrated by politicians. Are you also thinking that some of such reports are tainted in politics?
Well, I know I'm a politician, and sometimes politicians have also come under a lot of attacks as a profession. And as a politician, I will always want to believe that politicians are also doing their best to run the country. But unfortunately, we have allowed our political biases to infiltrate sometimes the media that we own. And I've been worried about this for a long time. And you're a journalist. I'm a journalist. I'm a reporter. I know very clearly that if you pick newspapers in Nigeria today from the headline, you can know which one is pro-PDP, which one is ACN, which one is APC, which one is CPC. You can read it every day. You don't even need to ask anybody. And I'm worried about these biases that are shown not just on opinion pages of newspapers, not just on editorial pages, but right on the front page, including the casting of headlines. You can see very clearly that there are biases, there are political stories which are fed on the nation. And I think this should not be encouraged. And that is why we are worried about professionalism, because I believe that as reporters, our duty is to function like a doctor in a hospital. Whether that hospital is owned by a politician or by a businessman or whatever, you cannot go and dictate to the doctor how he will operate his patients. You cannot go and dictate to the doctor which diagnosis to make, because it's covered by the profession. But today, Nigerian journalism is under attack because most of the time you find that the abuse of freedom is not coming from the state. It sometimes comes more from ownership. And we're seeing these biases which are destroying the future of our journalism. I'll give you an example, and I'm challenging anyone in Nigeria. Let us set up an international panel. Let us set a panel and ask them to review the Nigerian media, particularly every quarter. Review the media in England, review the media in USA, review the media in Canada, review them in India, review them in South Africa. At least these are countries with the traditions of our own liberal democracy. And let us compare how they report. Can we go to bed and sleep if we're in those countries? A number of us will be in jail if we report the way we report here. You can't. Fortunately, for journalism in Nigeria, there is no culture of litigation. People leave slander to court, to God. People leave character assassination to God. Otherwise, if they had a culture of litigation in this country, I can tell you many of the artifices will not function.
Well, now that the case is out of court, I'm sure we can pretty well discuss it. The issue of the presidential bromide perhaps is a case in point that I would want you to expatiate more. You talked about maybe slander as well as some other litigations that have actually been settled out of court. Is this also an example of what you mean?
Which one? Which case you say?
The presidential bromide involving the leadership newspaper journalists.
Well, in Nigeria today, let me also say this. I have been a victim of state attack on journalism in my practice days under the military. But I can tell you that there is this misconception now that because we have press freedom, it means that we are immune to arrest. No citizen is immune to arrest. Nobody in any country is immune to arrest. Policemen are arrested, soldiers are arrested, journalists could be arrested, doctors could be arrested, politicians could be arrested, anybody. If you did anything that is suspicious and the security agencies believe they need an information, they can invite you. That doesn't mean that media freedom is under attack. Press freedom in Nigeria is embedded in the Constitution. It's embedded in the Freedom of Information Act. It's embedded in our diversity. It's embedded in our history and culture of assertiveness. Nobody can take this freedom from anybody. For you to take away press freedom in Nigeria, you need to amend the Constitution. You need to change our diversity. You need to change our mindset. We have come to accept press freedom as a national characteristic. And that's why even soldiers could never take away those freedom from the media. They tried, they maimed, they killed, but the freedom remained. People still publish what they wanted to publish. So I believe what is going on in Nigeria today is that once they hear that a journalist has been invited, we go to town, press freedom is under threat. No. The Constitution guarantees that if I'm arrested, whether I'm a journalist or a soldier or a policeman, my lawyers can defend me because those rights are now constitutional. I can go to court to sue the police if I'm arrested for reasons that are frivolous, for example.